Hi. Some of you may have noticed that in some of the past videos, I haven't included new Keychron keyboards. It's not that I have some prejudice against Keychron, but it just feels like a lot of their keyboards can be quite redundant. So, I have a question for those of you guys who watch these videos. Do you want me to include Keychron keyboards, or would you prefer that I leave them out? While Keychron may not be the most premium or unique keyboard maker in the hobby, they do provide great value at their price, so I feel like I should probably include their stuff. But at the same time, it does kind of feel like Keychron tends to release the same keyboards over and over again with minor tweaks. Just look at their website under all keyboards and you'll see the number of offerings in their catalog, though many of them look basically identical. Honestly, I'm okay either way, so I'll leave it up to the audience and just go from there. Anyways, without further ado, Honestly, it's been quite a while since I last played Genshin Impact, so I'm not very familiar with Farazan, the character that inspired the set. But taking a look at some of the videos online, I feel like Captain Sterling did a really good job designing this set. The color chosen definitely remind me of the character, and I do really like the novelty designs as well. You can definitely tell that they're inspired by Farazan, but at the same time, they aren't too over the top, so if someone isn't knowledgeable about Genshin Impact, they probably wouldn't know that the set was inspired by an anime game. The Metal Artisan is simple and clean, though I wouldn't consider it a must-buy. It is, however, only $20, so it's not a big investment if you do decide to pick one up. The Deskmats for this set are also pretty cool, though if I had to pick one out of the two, I'd definitely go for the Elegance Deskmat. Like its namesake, I just think it looks more elegant and simple, which is something I prefer as I like to have my keyboard be the main centerpiece on my desk. Pricing for the set is pretty great at $89 for the base kit and novelties kit. I'm kinda surprised that they were able to achieve this price point since the base kit is very extensive, and previous Wucha Studio sets such as WS Kraken were more expensive for less. I'm not exactly sure what might have happened here, but maybe Wucha Studios has really gotten the manufacturing down and were able to lower the cost, or probably what's more likely is that they're expecting a higher MOQ, so as a result, they're able to offer the set at a lower cost. Either way, I'm just happy to see that the prices have gotten down, and from what I've heard, their sets are of good quality. If you're a fan of Farazan or Genshin Impact as a whole, or maybe you've been looking for a nice turquoise set, I think that WS Entwined Flowers is definitely worth checking out. The Awekeys Copper Eagle appears to be a quote-unquote affordable metal keycap set at $179, which is great to see as usually full metal sets are quite expensive. I haven't really heard of Awekeys before, so I can't speak on the quality of their sets, though I did see a concerning message on the post that said that folks on the Discord server weren't able to get support for poor fitment issues. I'm not 100% sure whether this is accurate or not, but I think that if you're considering this set, you should definitely do some due diligence to see whether this person's comment is true and whether you're willing to take on the potential risk or issues. If Awekeys is able to deliver a quality set, I think that it would be awesome and would allow more people to get their hands on metal keycaps. However, due to uncertainties with this new vendor, make sure that you look into this yourself to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. After getting a lot of noise about the QK65v2, Awekeys acknowledged the feedback and decided to release the QK65v2 Classic, a throwback to the original QK65 design. I was one of the people who weren't the biggest fan of the new design because I felt like it looked a little messy and gimmicky, so I was happy to see Awekeys go back to their original design. That's not to say that nothing has changed for this newest edition, as it does keep the new back design, and it keeps some of the new features and technologies introduced in the newer Awekeys keyboards. I know that there are folks who probably aren't too happy about this because they actually like the QK65v2, or maybe they think it looks too similar to the Neo 65, but there are still differences between the two, as detailed in this comment from Awekeys. I think that Awekeys is kind of stuck in a hard place, because you really can't please everybody. I do want to commend them for actually listening to the community, and then releasing a product that people are asking for. There have been quite a few times where vendors or designers refuse to listen to feedback and get stuck in their ways, which then oftentimes results in a disaster of a group buy or poor sales. Anyways, if you're looking for a nice 65% that's still in the budget range, but a little more premium than the Neo 65, I think that the QK65v2 Classic is definitely a great keyboard to consider. The Protagonist is a 60% keyboard that features a swappable layout using what the designers are calling the keyframe system. This system allows you to quickly swap out the top case so you can change the layout of your keyboard or color scheme as you please. To me, this feature kind of feels more like marketing, since it's not exactly new, as we've seen many other 60% keyboards offer multiple layouts that you can swap out, but I guess what is supposed to be unique about the Protagonist is that the board was designed to make that process easier. Other than that, the Protagonist just seems to be a solid grommet mount keyboard, with clean lines and a wide selection of colors to choose from. There are 3-way options available, with brass being standard, copper being $20 more, and stainless steel being $70 more. This part is actually pretty impressive to me, as the weight appears to be pretty substantial, but they were able to get the base pricing to be $350. They also do let you choose what you want the weight engraving to be, but unfortunately, do not offer an option for a blank weight, if you aren't a fan of either. I personally prefer the Protagonist text version since I don't really like how the logo looks, but I guess the logo technically does look cleaner, as the Protagonist text stretches across the entire weight. While the Protagonist might not be the most exciting board to look at, and it doesn't have the most tech features, I think that it's a solid looking keyboard with clean lines and pretty good sound. It sits around mid-range in terms of keyboard pricing, so it's not the cheapest board, though I do think it's pretty fair, and definitely a keyboard worth checking out. The Riva is making a return soon on March 27th, and I think that this V2 version definitely improves on the first edition. It still keeps that signature side profile curve, which reminds me of an Orca fin, and it's still a plateless leaf string mount keyboard, but the weight design as well as the inner case have been redesigned to look more elegant. The weight now mainly sits on the inside, but the parts that do show on the bottom of the keyboard complete the Orca engraving similar to the Kohaku. The inside of the board has a wave pattern that also adds to the theme. It is a bit of a shame that it's on the inside, since that means that you probably won't be seeing it too often, though it's not a big loss since that Orca engraving also looks really cool. Color options are also quite restricted for this board, and only 4 will be available: purple, light blue, burgundy, and black. I find it quite unfortunate that the navy version won't be available, since I think it looks the best out of all the renders and pictures that I saw, but if I had to choose, I'd probably go with black since it's more on theme. Even though this is a plateless keyboard, the Riva V2 will be compatible with a hot swap PCB that will be available for purchase during the group buy. I'm not sure how much it's going to cost, or if it's only going to be available as an extra and not configurable in the kit, so if you're interested in the Riva V2, I would keep my eyes peeled for when the group buy post goes live on Keycap. Pricing is supposed to be around €390 or $340 without all the German taxes, which I've included in the video, but this is also another piece of information that will have to be confirmed once the group buy post is available. However, if we're to assume that all the current information is accurate, I think that at $340, it's not a bad price, and based on the VODs that I saw, I feel like the Riva V2 looks to be a solid keyboard.